All right, we're just going in. We're just diving in, you know, because the longer I tiptoe around the situation, the further and further I get from the intended purpose. And now I am here as a clairaudient, clairsentient channeler and reader who has a specific message for somebody somewhere. This is not my message. I've sorted that all out. It's taken a couple of days to bring this together simply because I wanted to be entirely clear that this message was intended for somebody outside of myself, outside of my circle, and it certainly is. So, I've got some notes here because this has been a couple of days in the making. And so you'll know at some point in the next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, if this is your reading, if this belongs to you. If it does, please stick around. This goes quite deep. And there are facets of it that are unknown to me as well, because I have not yet tapped into my my tarot and my oracle. These are just channeled messages that have come to me. 2 days ago, while working in my apothecary, removing some dried flowers and preparing them for flora magic in the spring, the song by Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You, started playing on a loop in my head. It's a great song. Not one of my standard earworm songs though. So this is how I began to understand that there was information that was coming to me that I should pay attention to. Now, the very specific part of this song that was resonating with me and playing on repeat was the lyric from the bottom of my heart. Now, the song, if you don't know it, I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That's for you. If this resonates with you, stick around, please. There may be somebody who has evolved beyond this earthly plane that you used to speak to on the phone quite a bit. Somebody that you would call in a time of need. Somebody that you would reach out to. Somebody that you trusted. Somebody that right now, if you could just pick up the phone and call them, somehow that would make anything going wrong or right in your life right now come together, or give you the perspective that you need so that you can move forward. Because I was working with my dried flowers, I am under the assumption that this is a message that was being delivered to me from somebody who is no longer with us on this planet. Or they're with you, I could tell you that. And I know that because of the other messages that came. And there were a lot. Somebody very important to you. Somebody who's been important to your stability and your support system, who is no longer accessible through traditional means, is trying to reach you. They're trying to access you, and they're having a challenging time. That's why I'm here. As I was working with my dried flowers, I accidentally pricked myself with a needle. And as you know, when you prick yourself with a needle, it takes a moment for the blood to pool to the surface. Once a bead of blood surfaced on my finger, I just stamped it on a piece of paper that was nearby, because why not? When I lifted my finger, it made a perfect heart shape. So I know that this has something to do with the heart space, heart chakra. Where I stamped it was right over a line too, and it made like the letter I. So this is your heart. This is your stuff. This is something going on internally in you, and it hurts. And part of the reason it hurts is because there's a portion of your support structure or somebody significant in your life that you would ordinarily guide you through whatever it is taking place in your heart space right now that is no longer here, and you're having difficulty processing without them, and or you are suffering in silence and somebody is trying to access you and they don't have the kind of access they need to give you the signals, the signs, the insight, the perception, the reach from the beyond so that they may comfort you. after I stamped my finger and made this eye, and I became very acutely aware that there was something in the heart space that was hurting somebody, I looked at the clock and it was 12:53 p.m. Now, that reduces to 11, which further reduces to a 2. Now, we know the 11 can symbolize divine. It also is a gateway, so a passage of sorts. And 2 can be like a partnership, but it can also be a connection to self. I instantly knew that I needed to go to page 112 in one of my primary books that I use while working with Source, with Spirit. And I was asked to look in my book of symbols. And on page 112 in this book references the cave. Okay. Now the cave is a remarkable symbol for, gosh, everything. So many things. The cave can represent womb, a place of gestation, birth, labor, and also tomb, a place of death, dying. So I feel like the main message here is that there's something that has happened that has deeply impacted your heart. And it is akin to a death, and thus a birth. Whatever is taking place that is creating strife or agony, sorrow, whatever is making you feel isolated in your pain is an important part of your divine purpose and path, because it's represented by the cave, which is where we will go to die or bury, but also where we can rise anew, be resurrected. Cave also is a place of refuge, a place to take shelter from the storm, from predators. It is also a place where we create sacred ceremony. It can be a place of prayer. It can be like the great halls of art, someplace we go to connect with a higher source. I'm calling this the pain cave. In this moment, it's the pain cave. It's where perhaps you've gone to lick your wounds, a place where you have gone to gather and collect yourself or reflect. However, it's feeling quite dark, as if you're going too deep into the cave, that the light that guides us back is getting smaller and smaller. And so this is where the message starts to pick up some momentum here. I got 2 songs back to back, which is unusual. Usually if I get a song in my head, it's like the primary. This particular message has 4 songs. So we have the Stevie Wonder song I just called To Say I Love You. Now I know it's because there is an energy, an entity in your orbit that is trying to access you and is having trouble doing so. That's why I'm here. We know that there is a pain that is creating almost a ceremonial isolation that could lead to a disassociation and a detachment that could be precarious. And I think this is why we have an exterior ethereal force that is trying to rein you in a little bit. The next 2 songs that were in my head, I didn't know the artist for this one, and I don't really know the song very well. It's an old song by Jody Watley, and it goes, I'm looking for a new love, baby, a new love. And right after that, a song by Keith Sweat, okay, we're going way back, called Nobody, also started playing in my head. But the part that was playing on loop was a line that says, and the band keeps playing on and on. I think there was a departure from a partner, potentially a very long-term partner, decade, okay, a hardy amount of time. Now, time is linear, okay? So a short amount of time, rife with substance, could feel like eternity. So please use your discernment here. With these two songs, it immediately came to me that there was some form of betrayal. I'm looking for a new love. That feels like somebody got left out in the cold here. Somebody was cheated on. Somebody had an emotional affair with somebody else. And the next song playing on loop, the band keeps playing on and on. I feel like maybe this was a repeat offending type situation. And this is probably why the pain cave is so deep. Because when we've been hurt, you know, we're hurt by an external force. I feel like there's something here, a self, like a perception of self failure, a disappointment in one's self for having stuck it out, stayed in a situation that felt unsafe, stayed with somebody who did not honor us, was not worthy, and ultimately created a very deep and penetrating wound. And I say that because the very next message that came to me was in the early morning the next day. And this is very interesting. I was aware that I would be leaving the astral realm and I was going to be waking up soon. And when that happens, I will sometimes ask for a message from the divine to carry into consciousness. And I was given 2 words. And it repeated in my head until I woke up and decided to look deeper into what this meant. The words that were playing in my head as I was waking up was bleeding arrow. Bleeding arrow. Now, I never heard of a bleeding arrow. I didn't know bleeding arrow was a thing. I know what an arrow is. I know what bleeding is, but I didn't know that a bleeding arrow was an actual thing until I started to dive into the message. And what I learned was that a bleeding arrow is an arrow tip that is forged with the specific design and structure intended to create a catastrophic damage to flesh. And it wouldn't require a kill shot to lead to death. The bleeding arrow is an arrow that is barbed, so it burrows into the skin, and any time you move, it cuts and tears. And if you try to pull it out, it could be, it can kill you. Ultimately, this arrow is designed so that whoever is the sufferer, whatever is the sufferer, will eventually bleed out. I feel like there is a deep penetrating wound, and there is a fear that by pulling it out, it will kill you. But every time you move, it kills you. This feels very challenging to navigate. And I feel like you are missing somebody from your support system that you wish you could call, because somehow their voice, their insight would bandage you up, would stop the bleeding. There was a betrayal here. And it feels as if it's not the first time you've been struck by the arrow, but this time the arrow was different. It was diabolical. It was barbed. And you are having a very challenging time emerging from this agony, this pain. The last channeled message that came to me was another song by a band called Cheap Trick. I think it's maybe a little less known song. It's called Voices. And the lyric that stuck in my head, you didn't know what you were looking for until you heard the voices in your ear. Whatever's happened, this pain, Oh, it's destiny. Does that make it any easier? No. Does that make it harder? Sometimes. Sometimes knowing something is what's right for you and it doesn't feel good, that makes it worse. There was an external force out of your control that has created a deep, deep wound in you. And it is detaching you from yourself, from your power, from your purpose. You didn't know what you were looking for until you heard the voices in your ear. There is an element of destiny at play here. I believe it's going to lead to your success in some facet. I don't know what yet. We're going to find out, because I'm going to dive into some oracle stuff now, because while I've been meditating on these messages, I see the pain cave very clearly. There's a lot of photos. There's letters, there's cards, there's t-shirts, there's ticket stubs. There is a lot of mementos that carry an energy that need to be dispersed, need to be broken away. I encourage you to enter into a sacred ceremony, a releasing ceremony. Burn that shit. Make it go away. Now, that doesn't mean you need to burn down the whole structure of what was in order to rebuild. There are remnants, but my friend, please, at some point, the suffering becomes self-sustained. Doesn't mean that you're not in pain, but perhaps you are considering your suffering as a badge of honor, or it's keeping something relevant in your life that needs to go. And that is what this celestial type energy is urging me to convey to you. You are unable to hear and feel and sense the presence of this energy because you are very much in active healing. And when I say active healing, I don't mean you doing shadow work. I mean, you are just trying to stop the bleeding at this point. Spirit, I ask that you bring forth the most powerful and pertinent messages for my viewer. Show them what they need to see. Give them the insight, the signals, the messages, the visions that will allow them to progress and navigate this challenging situation that they find themselves in. Spirit, show me clearly. Okay. I don't know what this card is yet, but the message might come with a little bit of a sting. It might feel a bit jarring. So, okay, we have karmic justice. This is faded, and it does feel related to a partnership. It may be that whoever has created this situation, this wound, this could go back lifetimes, okay? There's always that. And so, sure, this could be a karmic contract that you have with somebody. And this is just how it's playing out. But this feels much bigger than that. This feels bigger than a contract between two souls. This feels like a contract between you and Source, a contract between you and your higher self, a contract between you and your ancestors. And that may be why you're in the cave. The cave is where we tell stories. The cave is where we go to mourn. It's also where we go to seek refuge. The cave holds ancient knowledge, and it's available to you, but there's this element of survival that is overriding some of the divine access that is available to you now. The karmic justice here means, okay, the wheel has turned, things have locked into place. What is meant to be is playing out in real time right now. And it may not necessarily be linear. It may not be about you and a person or you and a situation. There is something that this situation is providing to you that is meant to empower you, that is meant to bring forth your purpose, your gifts, and allow you to illuminate the path forward for others. There is work to be done here beyond just stopping the bleeding. I think if you stop focusing on the wound, it won't be bleeding so much. I think we need to shift our focus up. We need to shift our focus in. We need to allow ourselves to imagine, as hard as it may be, that the reason why this has happened is because there's something much more profound and meaningful for you as you emerge from the cave and into the light. Thank you, Spirit. Show me more. What else can I tell my viewer about this situation? Okay. Whatever it is, it's like opposite of what you expected for yourself. Everything's upside down. Everything's turned around. And so it's actually very hard right now to even rationalize on a very logistical level how this is all going to play out. There are practical matters that are also taking up valuable bandwidth. And that's necessary. We have to secure shelter. We have to secure food. We have to secure support. And so that is paramount. And it's very hard to deal with a heartbreak or sorrow when we have business to attend to. Mindfulness. I encourage you to take a very proactive approach to how you navigate your healing process in these stages. You may need to thrash around a bit. That may be what's happening right now. Or maybe you've been thrashing around and now you're exhausted and you're just laying there and you're dazed and confused and fogged over. You're depleted. One of the things that I believe will help you navigate this process of transformation through heartbreak is to take on very mundane tasks as if they are the most important thing in the world, because this is akin to meditation. Washing your coffee mug rather than running the water and soaping it up. No, use those logistical earth-based things as an opportunity to essentially meditate, be mindless through something. I think that will help tremendously. It may be that you're taking on some of these mundane tasks, and while you're doing them, you're thinking about this ache. Well, it may be hard to drown that out. I encourage you to try. I encourage you to try when you're folding the laundry, instead of thinking about the pain, the betrayal, just think about the shirt. Just think about the shirt, folding it, feel the fabric, gentle stack. Slow down your train of thought when you're doing mundane activities. Course correct if you find that you're thinking about something totally unrelated to what you're doing. Not every thought has to be profound. Not every process has to be rife with divinity and rife with productivity. Sometimes taking on the mundane while we are going through our heartache is a gift. It's a break. What else, Spirit? Okay. Now the card that popped out, divine guidance. Yes. You must quiet your mind any chance that you can if you find yourself in the loop. And the band keeps playing on and on. Yeah, hit stop, hit pause. There's divine guidance here. Whatever's taking place, like this is going to launch you into the most significant era of your life. And there's divine guidance here. And that is coming from a being, a source, an ancestor, a loved one, who is trying very hard to comfort you through signs. through song, through vision, through dreams, through calm. They're having a difficult time accessing you. We have the dragonfly on this card. Now, the dragonfly is emblematic of the spirit world. We have frog. Frogs are good luck. They're also very wet and earthy. They engage with multiple elements. There is a comfort that is available to you in the form of signs and signals from a loved one. I believe you're too focused on the situation at hand, at the betrayal, at the actual physical pain that you're feeling as a result of this encounter with heartbreak. But I assure you because I know, because I've got whomever this is accessing me to deliver to you that all is well. It's time to stop thrashing about. It's time to pick ourselves up off the floor. Does that mean that we're in a great place? No. Does that mean that everything is okay? No. It's opposite. Okay? Things are not okay. But this is why we need to allow this into our sphere. Because this is big. This is huge. And one of the only ways, it's not the only way, but this is the only way that I am being called to express. One of the only ways to get out of this loop, this pain cycle, this pain cave, is to allow the mundane earth-based activities that we have to do to become a place of solace, to give us an opportunity to quiet the mind. Because when the mind is quiet, we can allow that light in. We can hear things that our cluttered mind is working overtime to filter out. Spirit, can I get one more card for my viewer about this situation, Spirit? Okay. There is something soft and wonderful is orbiting you right now. It's aching to be near you, to enter your energy and your aura, to offer you solace, comfort, and act as a way shower. We have the Destiny card. This is whatever has happened, whomever hurt you, betrayed you, whatever fell apart, however you may perceive that you have let yourself down, none of it matters the way you think it does. What matters is that it's all happening in accordance to the divine plan, your divine purpose. And there's an energy available to you that wants to hold and support you and love you. This is your destiny. When you emerge, and you will, because you're being urged and pushed, when you allow yourself to stumble into the light, just even a little bit, an opportunity that is going to set you on a greater path forward is going to come to you. It's destined. We have karmic justice and destiny here. There needed to be a fracture in the timeline so that you can actually move into your purpose, into your destiny. Let's get some more information for my viewer, Spirit. Thank you so much. Whomever this loved one is, oh boy, they are persistent. Not nagging, no. Oh, quite the opposite. This energy is one of temperance and patience. And, I got chills. Oh, and now I want to cry. Whomever this energy is loves you so much. And you had come to rely on them, and them you, and that is why they are so eager to reach you now. Their very unique offering to you is available to you. Now, it may not look and feel like it does here on this earthly plane. I know you know that they're with you all the time. They know that you are suffering, and your suffering is standing in the way of them being able to comfort you. Now, that seems like it should be like the other way around. Their comfort should end your suffering. Not that your suffering is denying their comfort. It may be time to look at where you are stubbornly clinging to your sorrow. Don't look at their social media. Stop it. Stop. Just, delete the app from your homepage. Just for a week, 2 months, I don't know. Don't open up the letter. Don't skim through the email. We have the Hierophant. We have the Six of Wands. Spirit will prevail in this situation, but it needs your cooperation. Spirit, show me clearly. What advice do you have for my viewer? What is the final message for my viewer, Spirit? Show me clearly. Most insightful, pertinent information that will allow them to navigate their current situation, knowing they are protected and supported. So they may move into their destiny, Spirit. What is the advice that you have for my viewer? Show me clearly. The Eight of Cups. You need to divert your attention. Find distractions. It's okay. Cloud your mind if you have to, but do it with things that aid in your recovery, right? Pick up that crochet project you haven't worked on. Go ahead and ramp up your fitness routine. You're spending too much time reflecting on the past. Is that normal? 100%. Is it easy to break that cycle? Not always. Especially if the reason why we are reflecting on the past is because we are suffering and we're trying to figure out why this has happened. It's time to stop questioning why. Why? Because it's your destiny. Why does it hurt so much? Because karmic justice hurts. If it doesn't feel like heaven, it can feel like hell. Throw yourself into something. Anything else that is for your highest good. It's time to stop thinking about the past. Because the future is quite bright. You will be coming into a sense of self-empowerment that you've never experienced before. Yeah, you're going to be taking control of your destiny like you never have before. You see things so much more clearly once we move out of the darkness into the light. Your three-dimensional world is going to elevate exponentially. Whatever losses you are inventorying right now, stop. It's time to take an inventory of what you have and what you desire. What else, Spirit? Advice for my viewer. You need to end your own suffering. Yes, you were painfully hurt. It will take a very long time to look back on that without feeling the pain. But the bleeding has stopped. Don't pick at it now. Because on the horizon, we're very much in this earth energy, and cave is earth energy. Your world may have fallen apart, but everything is falling into place. You're too busy hiding out in the cave, licking your wound until the skin around it is raw. I feel for you. I feel for you. But I also see your future. And while it's not perfect, because, well, when we have been damaged, we are always on a healing journey. And we are frequently unaware of what pops up to, push on the parts that hurt. So we're always a little apprehensive. But this Queen of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles, you are going to create profound stability and abundance and wealth, physical health. This is your destiny, was to be obliterated. Unfortunately, a lot of us share that. Your destiny was to be obliterated so that you can gather yourself and carry yourself out into the light. There is an energy here to help you. A loving, warm, beautiful, nurturing energy that you relied on for some time, that you're having trouble accessing. This person doesn't have to be in the, in the astral, celestial great beyond. This could be someone that that you just can't talk to, or someone you're afraid to talk to, someone that you would take comfort in, but you don't want them to know that you're suffering. If this person is alive, call them. If this person is no longer here on planet Earth, oh, they are very, very invested in you. And they are telling me how important you are. Now, my friend, please believe that all of this was for the divine reason that it is. Because new and amazing things are going to be coming into your life. You're going to be very excited. Page of Wands. Stumble into the light. It doesn't have to look pretty. But the cave is no longer for you. You can go back when you're well. It's time to reemerge. And do so knowing you're divinely supported and protected, and that there's a loved one who was scratching at my door for almost 3 days, telling me that you are in great pain, that you were betrayed, that you're spending too much time thinking about what went wrong, what you could have done differently, how you let yourself down. How could somebody do this to you? It's not right. Whatever happened was not right, but it was destiny. And there is something amazing for you on the horizon. It's already within you. It's time to shift your focus from the boo-boo. Allow that light in. Even if it's through a pinhole, it will grow. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you well, and I love you. Mwah!